Julie worked in a Prada store in New York. Everything there was expensive, and most clients paid by credit card. But one day, she got a client who got a purse, a wallet, and a dress. All that cost her $3,990. But the woman decided to pay in cash. Julie refused to sell the items to the client and called the police. Why? Tried to use to pay. They are two $2,000 bills, which don't exist. The police of Atlanta were notified that a prisoner had escaped from Chicago and taken the plane to Atlanta. Of course, an officer was sent to the airport to find the prisoner and capture them. The police officer spotted 3 people who looked similar to the criminal. Take a look at the passengers. Which one should be arrested? The prisoner must be this guy. He's the only one who doesn't have any luggage with him. Probably because he was running away and had none. In a small town, a grand robbery happened. Someone robbed a jewelry store in the local mall. At 6:03 p.m., the lights in the whole mall went off for 8 minutes. When the lights came back on, the most expensive jewelry pieces were missing from the shelves. The police interrogated 3 main suspects. Jack said,
I was picking out a present for my son in an electronics store when the lights went off. I was so confused as anyone else.
Fred said, I wasn't even in the mall at the time. I have no idea what you're talking about. And Stacy said, I was in the bathroom fixing my makeup. I didn't even notice the lights went out. Who is the main suspect? It's Stacy. She said that she hadn't noticed that the light had gone out, but they went off everywhere, including the bathrooms. She would have noticed it, so she's lying. Ava has always wanted to get a cat, but her mom wouldn't allow her to have a pet. So, when one day she found a kitten on the street, she brought it home, but kept it a secret. She succeeded for 2 weeks, but one morning she went down to the kitchen. Have you been hiding a cat in your room? Her mother asked. How did she figure it out? Ava is wearing shorts. Her legs are all scratched, and these scratches are what gave her away. During Halloween, all kinds of creatures flooded a little town, blending in with the citizens. Weeks passed, but some of them stayed, pretending to be humans. The town's detective could catch the remaining ones. He's been tracking a vampire, and he has 3 suspects. All of them only come out at night. Which one of them is the vampire? This guy is pale, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's a vampire. This guy is wearing a silver chain, so he can't be one. But this guy doesn't have a reflection. This is definitely not a human. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not let inside any suspicious people or people below the age of 21. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who isn't supposed to enter the club. Okay, here's the first guest for you. What can you say about this man? Don't let him in. The person in the photo is totally different. It's not this guy's ID card. Okay, here's the next one. Keep your eyes wide open. Do you see anything suspicious? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, the next one. Check it out and make your decision. In or out? Las Vegas is written with a W. It's a typo, which is unacceptable for official documents. This ID must be fake. Here's the next guest for you to examine. What's your verdict? Will you let her in? She seems fine to me. It must be safe to let her in. What about this girl? Is anything off here? She seems fine to me too. Green light. Okay, the last guest. In or out? Look, the woman in the photo has a brown right eye and a green left eye. The real woman has a brown left eye and a green right eye. This is too suspicious. I wouldn't let her in. Amelia is a huge modern art enthusiast, and she wants to take her siblings to a new exhibition. A ticket for one person costs $18. A ticket for two costs $30. And a ticket for three costs $45. If she wants to pay as little as possible, should she invite her two siblings at once or go with each of them separately? It's cheaper if the three of them go together. It'll cost $45. If Amelia went with each of them separately, she would have to pay $30 twice, so she'd pay $60 in total. Ellery has a sweet tooth, and every Friday she goes candy shopping for the week. Tonight, she bought chocolate bars, jelly beans, and gummy bears. She has all chocolate bars but 2, all packs of jelly beans but 4, and all packs of gummy bears but 4. How many pieces of each type of sweets did she buy? Chocolate bars are all but 2, which means that there are 2 packs of jelly beans and gummy bears together. So there's 1 pack of jelly beans and 1 pack of gummy bears. Chocolate and gummy bears are 4 together, so there are 3 chocolate bars. Ailu is a fairy living in her magical forest. Every day, she takes the same route for a morning flight to the lake. One Friday, she was flying to the lake when she met some other creatures moving towards her. There were 2 elves, 3 fairies, and a gnome. How many creatures were going to the lake that Friday morning? Just Ailu. Everyone else was going in the opposite direction. Lily and Della are twin sisters. Both girls failed their history test at school, and their mother made them study all weekend. In the middle of the day, Mrs. McAdams came to check on the girls. Take a look at Lily and Della. Which of them hasn't been studying? Della, the book she's reading isn't a history book, it's physics. She must have grabbed the closest book as soon as she heard her mother's footsteps. A rich lady was booking into one of the best hotels in the city. When she got her key, she noticed that her bags had been stolen. The police interrogated 3 main suspects. Mr. Collins said, "I wouldn't steal anything. I'm rich. I live in the penthouse on the 20th floor." Mrs. Jones said, "I've just returned to the hotel. I've been out all day." And Mrs. Smith said, "I wouldn't steal anything. I have too much stuff myself." Mr. Collins seems shady. He can't live on the 20th floor because there are only 18 floors in the hotel. Amber participated in a game show, and she won. She got 3 exclusive gifts: a Givenchy purse, Armani sunglasses, and a Porsche. But here's a catch. She is to pick her presents herself by choosing between the original and a replica. You need to help her pick the correct prize. Here are two Givenchy purses. One of them is the original, and the other is a replica. Which one should Amber choose? This one. It has the correct logo, so it must be the original. Now, there are two seemingly identical pairs of sunglasses, but only one of them is the original from Giorgio Armani. Which one? This one, with the correct logo. And finally, the Porsche. Let's see if you remember their logo. Yes, this is the one. Great job. Kitty runs a dance show. She arrives in Finland with the 3 best dancers to perform during the Christmas holidays. On the first day of their trip, Kitty was found unconscious in the hotel room. Doctors claim that someone had poisoned her. The police interrogate all the dancers. Kira says, "My colleagues and I left the hotel early in the morning to explore the city, and Kitty stayed in the room for a conference call. I had a date with my online boyfriend, Mikkel." Pam says, "I went to the beach to sunbathe and swim. When I returned, I saw Kitty on the floor." And April says, "I went to the museum alone. Nobody wanted to join me." Who's lying? Pam. It's Christmas Eve, so it's too cold in Finland. She couldn't swim in the sea.
Oh no!
The police arrested Pam, and now Kira and April urgently need to find a new dancer for their show. They look through some profiles online and select these 3 ladies, Deborah, Sally, and Lily. But only one of them isn't fake. Can you guess who? Deborah's profile looks good, but take a closer look at the shadow in her picture. Her head is photoshopped to a different person's body, therefore, she's fake. And according to the 3rd lady's birth date, she hasn't been born yet, so they should choose Sally. April, Kira, and Sally are performing in a music hall, but first, they go to the dressing room to prepare. Suddenly, the local security guard comes in and announces, "Stay where you are! We have to recheck all the luggage! There's a runaway criminal among the actors." Here's the luggage left by 4 guys who are playing Santas. Can you spot the criminal? Santa never shaves, so the second luggage looks pretty suspicious because it has shaving cream. The remaining 3 Santas open the performance. They look absolutely identical in their costumes. After the show, they go backstage and take off their beards and hats to drink some coffee. This is Carl, Peter, and George. After the break, they put on the costumes again and go to the after party. Can you decide which one of them is Carl? Carl was mixing sugar in his coffee with his left hand. It means that he's left-handed. And this Santa signs an autograph with his left hand. Therefore, he's Carl. After work, Kira and April go to the local parade. Can you help them find a sheep among all these Santas? There it is. What about these reindeers? Can you see any bears among them? Hello? Kira and April enter a shopping mall and face 4 Santas buying gifts for their families. Meanwhile, the mall security guard receives a call from the police. A mysterious thief in a Santa suit has robbed multiple gift shops. They figured out that this mall should be next. The guard asked everybody to stay where they are. Can you help him find the criminal? It's the third Santa. He's hiding a couple of crowbars in his bag. Also, his beard and mustache are different from the other Santas. Kira and April decide to throw a party in the hotel room. April decorates the room and sets up the Christmas tree. Meanwhile, Kira cooks dinner and prepares gifts for 3 people: Thomas, Sally, and Mikkel. The guests arrive and the party begins. At some point, they notice that someone has stolen all the gifts. Kira believes it must be one of the guests, so she questions everyone. Every guest makes 2 statements, 1 truth and 1 lie. Thomas says, "I wasn't in the room when it happened. I know Mikkel stole the gifts." Sally says, "Mikkel stole them. I saw it. I already have enough presents." And finally, Mikkel says, "I didn't steal the gifts." Thomas tells the truth. He wasn't in the room. Who stole the Christmas gifts? If Thomas is the thief, both of his statements would have been false, and if Mikkel is the thief, then all of Thomas's statements would have been true. Therefore, Sally stole the gifts. Frank is staying in a hotel room next to Kira. The day before Christmas Eve, she knocks on his door to borrow some toothpaste. The door is open, and Frank is lying unconscious on the floor. Later that day, doctors figured out that he was poisoned. Kira questions 3 people. All of them are Frank's roommates. Jeff says, "Today I've had dinner with my girlfriend. I only saw Frank in the morning, and he was feeling great." Thomas says, "We had breakfast with Frank in his room this morning. He was in a great mood." And Ellie says, "I've just returned. I had to buy gifts for my family, so I've been shopping all day." Who poisoned Frank? The screensaver is out of date. Frank left a hint with his enemy's name. It was Thomas. Kira, April, Mikkel, and Frank rent a cozy country house to celebrate Christmas. April bakes gingerbread men cookies and leaves them to cool down on the kitchen table. She hasn't applied the frosting yet. So, she asks the others to stay away from the cookies. April goes upstairs to change. In 10 minutes, she returns and sees that someone took a bit off every cookie. April gets furious. She asks the others, "What were you doing within the last 10 minutes?" Mikkel replies, "I was building a snowman outside. I have no idea what was going on in the house." Frank says, "I was decorating the Christmas tree with these balls." And Kira replies, "I was watching my favorite movie in the bedroom. It was so loud that I didn't hear anything." April already knows who's lying. What about you? Frank is lying. There's no balls on the tree. Santa comes home earlier and finds his elf Bobby on the sofa. He's bewitched by an eternal sleep spell. Santa asks the other elf, Chuck, a question.
"What happened here? Only you 2 were at home."
Chuck replies,
We were packing the gifts and decided to have a lunch break. Suddenly, I heard a loud sound outdoors and ran out to see what was up. I spent about 20 minutes there, and then I returned back home. Bobby was already unconscious.
Santa calls Chuck a liar. Why? Chuck said he spent 20 minutes outdoors, but the coffee cups are still hot. He bewitched Bobby and staged the scene. Kira comes home to her family's house. She's looking forward to eating the walnut cookies she bought at the airport, but she has to eat them outside because her mother is allergic to all types of nuts. After a while, Kira looks inside her bag and sees that all the cookies are gone. Kira suspects her brothers, so she asks,
Who ate my cookies?
Dylan replies, I was making apple pie with Mom. Paul says, I was decorating the living room. Kevin says,
I was making a sandwich with peanut butter for Mom.
And Ralph says, I was just watching the TV and eating my popcorn. Now Kira knows who took her cookies. What about you? Kevin is lying. They have the same mother, and as we mentioned earlier, she's allergic to all nuts. During the family dinner, Dylan receives an email and begins to cry. Kira asks, "What's wrong?" Dylan replies, "I'm a beginner photographer, and I've sent my best picture to the photo contest. I was expecting to win the first prize, but they disqualified me. Can you figure out why just by looking at this picture?" The stars are over the moon. It's impossible. Kira is looking for her mother all over the house, but someone used black magic to turn her into a statue. There's a note nearby. It only has a question mark written with green pencil. Kira decides to question the Green family next door. Zelda says, "I was painting in the attic as usual." Oliver says, "I was cooking soup for my family." Mark says, "I was looking for my missing cat downtown." And Wanda says, "I was playing video games in the basement and heard nothing." Who cursed Kira's mom? The clue literally says, "?Green."
Dennis is a talented architect. He's designed a unique skyscraper, and right now, the construction works are starting. His boss asked Dennis to show around a group of specialists from a competitor company. The only condition was that they weren't allowed to take any photos. Dennis did as he was told, but when the group was going to leave, he asked security to detain one man. The architect claimed he had been taking photos during the tour around the site. How did he understand it? The man was carrying an umbrella. He kept pointing it at different objects, asking lots of questions. But the sky is cloudless. What does he need an umbrella for? A camera must be hidden there. Nathan came to his friend Zachary, who worked in a museum. "Look what I've got, a priceless manuscript that was written more than 1,000 years ago." Zachary looked through the manuscript and realized his friend had been fooled. Does anything in this text strike you as strange? If we talk about the dates before the Common Era, they should be in reverse order. The original text would read, King Alfred V ruled the country from 1320 to 1290 BCE. Detective Aaron Jones got a call late at night. It was his neighbor. "I've heard a very loud noise coming from the house next door. I'm afraid to go there to investigate alone, but what if something has happened?" When Aaron and his neighbor arrived at the place, they saw the entrance door open. They ran inside and found the house owner, Mr. Anderson, on the floor of his bedroom, tied and moaning in pain. He said he had been in bed reading a book, and then a man in a black mask broke into his room and hit him on the head. Then he tied Mr. Anderson, took all his money and other valuables, and disappeared. Detective Jones didn't believe the man. Why? Look at his bed. There isn't even a wrinkle on the cover. It's unlikely that the thief made the bed after tying Mr. Anderson, which means the man is lying. Look at this group of people and try to figure out who the man's wife is. It's the woman in purple. Both she and the biker are wearing matching wedding rings. Joan took part in an experiment, testing her logical thinking and analytical skills. She had to crack riddles to get to the next level. Right now, the girl is locked in a small room. The door will open automatically once she figures out the riddle written on a piece of paper. Which principle is this sequence based on? 8549176320. The numbers are lined up based on the alphabetical order of the first and second letters of their name. 8, 5, 4, 9, and so on. Joan managed to get out of the room and is ready for the next task. This time, the girl needs to join all the blue points on the screen, but she's allowed to use only 3 lines. How can she do it? She's drawn a triangle. Its 3 sides include all the dots. The next level is rather scary. Joan is locked in a room that's slowly filling with water. This process will only stop when the girl figures out how this equation can be true. 29 minus 1 equals 30. Even under these stressful conditions, Joan managed to crack the puzzle. She replaced the numbers with the Roman numerals. XXIX minus I equals XXX. Then she removed the 1 I from 29 XXIX and got 30 XXX. Wow, this was a riddle with a lot of excess. And finally, Joan is given the last test. She needs to figure out which object is the odd one and doesn't belong to the group. Can you do the same? It's the first object. It's the only one that doesn't have any individual traits. The second object is uniquely round. The third doesn't have a red line around it. The fourth shape is a different color, and the fifth one is smaller than the rest. 2 cars are driving through the city. They both started their journey at the same time. The green one is moving at a speed of 30 miles per hour. The yellow one is faster. Its speed is 50 miles per hour. And still, at one point, the green car comes across the yellow car. How is it possible? Well, the cars were traveling in opposite directions. Look at this teenager and 2 women behind his back. Who is his real teacher? The answer is in the reflection behind their backs. You can see that both women are holding pointers, but in the mirror, only one of them has it. She is the real teacher. 2 men are going to fill their watering cans with water from the river. Who will bring more water? The spout of the older man's watering can is situated lower than the spout of the other man's can, and the level of water can't be higher than the spout. It means the younger man will bring more water. Evelyn wants to visit one unusual restaurant, but to get there, one must know the password. The girl hides around the corner to figure it out. She sees a man come up to the security guard. The guard says 12. The man answers 6 and is allowed to come in. Then a young woman approaches the security guard. He says 6 and she answers 3. Evelyn is sure she has figured out the pattern. She comes up to the security guard and hears him say 4. The girl says 2 and isn't allowed to enter. Why? The password is always different. It's the number of letters in the word the security guard says. Like the word 12 has 6 letters. That's why Evelyn should have answered 4. A manager of the most luxurious sea resort in the area called the police. She said someone had stolen a set of very expensive monogrammed bed linen. 3 guests left the hotel that morning: Mr. Sam Taylor, Mrs. Amanda Martin, and Mr. Michael Smith. The police detained one of the guests and indeed found the bed linen in their suitcase. How did the detectives figure out which person was the thief? As you can see, the hotel's name is Morning Star. This means the monogram on the bed linen was MS. The only person with the same initials is Mr. Michael Smith. Hannah called her friend, Detective Evelyn Marks, and asked her to come as soon as possible. While the woman was away walking with her dog, someone had gotten into her house and stolen her laptop. Hannah was sure it was her neighbor, Jeremy. Evelyn went to question the man, but he wasn't at home. She decided to wait for him in her car. Soon she saw Jeremy opening his entrance door. I went fishing early in the morning. Don't you see that I've just come home?" But Hannah didn't believe Jeremy and took him to the police station. Why? The guy was wearing white sneakers, but it's been raining since early morning. If he was out fishing, how can his shoes look so clean? Detective Jacob Robinson was spending his vacation in the mountains. One morning, he found out someone had stolen a big sum of money from the owner of the hotel where he was staying. Jacob offered the man his help and questioned all the hotel guests. Emma said, "I felt unwell and spent all the evening in my room." Lewis explained to the detective that he had only arrived at 2 a.m. and had gone straight to bed. And Simon said, "I've got friends living here in the village. I went to visit them and returned in the morning, just an hour ago." Detective Robinson immediately realized who was guilty. Do you know it? It was Simon. Look at the snow around the hotel. It looks untouched, with no footprints whatsoever. Then how did Simon get back from the village? Mrs. Williamson told her daughter Maya she wasn't allowed to see her boyfriend Luke until she prepared for her exam. After that, the woman went shopping. When she was coming back, she spotted Luke, who was walking along the street. When Mrs. Williamson returned home, she immediately realized Maya had seen her boyfriend. How did the woman figure it out? When she was leaving, there were 5 roses in the vase on the kitchen table. Now there were only 4, and when she saw Luke, he was carrying a rose. Private Detective Sean was waiting for his client in the lobby of a large hotel. The client was running very late. That's why, to entertain himself, Sean was observing the hotel guests. He noticed a man at the reception desk. He had 4 suitcases, but refused when the porter offered to help him with the baggage. The man went to his room, only to reappear 5 minutes later with the largest of his suitcases. Half an hour later, he returned without the suitcase and went to his room. Soon, he rushed to the reception shouting, "My suitcases, they're gone!" Sean introduced himself and, together with the hotel management, joined the man in his room. Something seemed off about the guy, and soon the detective realized he was a fraudster. What did the man do? Each of his suitcases was smaller than the previous one. The man packed all of them into the largest suitcase and left with it. And then he pretended someone had stolen his things. Detective Taylor was chasing a dangerous criminal. Suddenly, the man entered a hospital, but there are hundreds of rooms there. Luckily, it was raining, and the criminal left footprints on the floor. The detective followed them and got into a small room. There were 3 people there. All of them were covered in bandages from head to toe. But one of them was a fake patient. Who? It's the man in the middle. He doesn't have a medical chart next to his bed. A cluster of students was divided into 3 groups. Ava, Tio, and Max were the red team. Jane, Elsa, and Ever were the blue team. Chloe, Chase, and Belle were in the 3rd group. Following the logic, what was the color of their group? Green, orange, or yellow? Students' names in the red group consist of 3 letters, just like the word red. The word blue, just like the name of the color, consists of 4 letters. The names Chloe, Chase, and Belle consist of 5 letters. So should their color. Green is the only color that fits, so their team is green. Brooke, Scarlett, Ruby, and Quinn are sisters. Quinn stands right next to Charlotte. Brooke is between Ruby and Quinn. Ruby is on the very right. Can you identify the name of each girl? Let's start with the last hint. So, Ruby is on the right. Then, since Brooke is between Ruby and Quinn, the next one is Ruby. Then there's Quinn. The remaining girl on the left must be Scarlet. It fits the first hint too, because Quinn and Scarlet stand next to each other. So it's Scarlet, Quinn, Brooke, and Ruby. Take a look at the 4 words: corset, sector, rocket, coster. Can you tell which one of them is an extra one? It's the word rocket. All the rest are anagrams of each other. If rocket had an S instead of a K, it would be an anagram too. Philip is a young inventor who constructed a robot that can do all the household chores and called him Joey. One day, when Philip came back from university, he found that his robot was stolen. He was looking for it everywhere until he found an old and dark dungeon. He went there hoping to find his robot and wasn't mistaken. However, 5 robots looked exactly like his, and Philip had only one try to pick the right robot. If he picked the wrong one, he'd be trapped in the dungeon forever. Can you help Philip find his robot? All the robots look exactly the same, but take a closer look. One of them has a badge saying Joey, and that's the name of Philip's robot. During the Christmas holidays, Mr. Jones reported that his dog was stolen. A local detective arrived to interrogate some neighbors. Mr. Thompson said he was out all day and just returned home, so he has nothing to do with the dog. Ms. Miller said she spent all day eating and binge-watching some movies. Mr. Raymond said that he was outside the house swimming all day and hasn't heard anything about the dog and hasn't even seen it. However, the detective figured out who stole the dog. Can you? It must be Mr. Raymond. He said he was swimming outside. But take a look outside. It's winter and it's snowing. It's Christmas break. No way, man. Esme had a walk in the forest and soon realized she got lost. She was wandering around until she found a witch's house. She walked in, pet the cat, and asked the witch if she could help her out. Today, the witch was busy solving a math riddle her grandson sent her by Raven Post. He couldn't solve it and asked his grandma to help. Unfortunately, the witch couldn't solve it either, so she said that she'd let Esme go if she solves the riddle. Here's an equation. 101 minus 102 equals 1. Move just one digit and make it correct. Luckily, Esme is a smart girl. She just moved the 2 up to make it 10 squared. Now it's 101 minus 10 squared, which is 100. 101 minus 100 equals 1. So, Esme got away happily. Wyatt woke up in some dungeon. He tried to escape, but the door was locked. Moreover, a clock appeared and started ticking, saying there will be an explosion in half a minute if he doesn't crack the code. It was just one number, but the trick was that Wyatt only had one chance for a guess. Luckily, there was a hint. Can you guess what the correct digit is? The second number in each row is the number of letters needed to spell the first one. So the word 1 has 3 letters. The word 2 has 3 as well. The word 3 has 5. The word 4 has 4 letters. So the digit Wyatt needs is 4. Blake was a writer applying for a job in a fashion magazine. However, the boss was a whimsical woman. Blake did the interview well, but still, the woman didn't want to hire her because Blake was too young. The boss poured some water into a glass and asked Blake to get her some apple juice to fail her. However, there were 2 conditions. She wanted the water in the glass, but didn't want it to mix with the juice. Still, Blake figured out how to do it and got the job. How? She just put the glass in the freezer and waited till the water got frozen. Then she poured the juice on top of it. In a small neighborhood, girls started to get kidnapped. The first day, it was Anna. The next day, Hannah disappeared. Then, the third day in a row, Elle went missing too. People in the neighborhood didn't want another girl to disappear. However, there was only one police officer, and he could only stay with one of them. There were 4 girls left: Ayla, Sienna, Ava, and Alice. Can you guess who the police officer should stay with to prevent the kidnapping? There should be a pattern, and there is. The names of all the missing girls, Anna, Hannah, and Elle, are palindromic. It means they're the same when you read them forward and backward. Only Ava has a palindromic name out of the remaining girls, so she must be the next target, and the officer should stay with her. On a rainy evening, Liberty came back from school to find out that her chocolate was stolen. She called her siblings and asked who ate her chocolate, but everyone denied it. Storm said he was working out in his room and he doesn't eat sweets. Andromeda said she would never eat someone else's chocolates. Thor said that he just walked home from his friend's house and didn't touch her chocolate either. However, Liberty didn't believe one of her siblings. Who stole her chocolate? It was Thor. It's raining outside and he doesn't have an umbrella. If he was out, he'd be wet from the rain just like Liberty, but he wasn't. It means that he lied, which means he probably lied about the chocolate too. Della was having a birthday party. She invited 3 people over and got 3 presents: a pair of heels, a bag of makeup, and golden earrings. However, Della didn't like one of the presents. Can you guess which one and why? She didn't like the golden earrings just because she couldn't wear them. Her ears aren't pierced. Well, maybe she will consider piercing them. 4 sisters, Jane, Flora, Maeve, and Annika, were each born in one of the months January, February, March, and April. Here's their talk. "It's a pity no one's name starts with the same letter as their birth month," said Annika. "Who cares?" said someone who was born in January. "I wish my birth month at least started with a vowel, but I'm not even that lucky," said Maeve. Which month was each girl born in? Let's draw a table. No girl's name starts with the same letter as the month, so we cross them out. The girl born in January replied, so Annika wasn't born in January. Neither was Maeve because she replied next. So Flora was born in January. Maeve wasn't born in April because her month doesn't start with a vowel, so April's girl is Jane. It leaves only March for Annika and, therefore, February for Maeve. Elsie is working as a maid at a rich woman's house. One day, the woman reported that her diamond necklace was stolen. She claimed that it must have been Elsie who stole it because that day no one else was in the house. However, Elsie denied taking it. Who should the officer believe? He should believe Elsie. She said she didn't take it, and she's telling the truth. Look, the necklace is hidden in the woman's hair. Mr. Bright cleaned his office, locked it, and went on a vacation to Malta. He spent 2 glorious weeks there, but he immediately realized that someone had broken into his office when he returned. He was the only one who had the key, but how did he realize someone had been in the office? He cleaned the desk, but take a look at the trash can. There's some trash there now, even though it was spotless before. Virginia, a young girl, was found poisoned in her room. Detective Callum came to her house for investigation. The girl was found in the armchair with a glass of some liquid by her side. It looked like she poisoned herself, but the detective didn't believe it. He said it was someone else who poisoned her, and it probably wasn't even in the glass. Why did he think so? Take a look at Virginia's desk. The mouse is on the left side, which means she's a lefty. However, the glass stands on the right side of her. Probably someone just put it there to make it look like she did. Jason is making pizza for his family, and Savannah went outside to make some grilled vegetables. Which one of them does something wrong? Jason. He forgot to turn on the oven. Susie is listening to music and vacuum cleaning the house. Elizabeth is working in the garden. Who is doing something wrong? Susie should take her headphones out and check out what she's doing. The vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in, so she's about to do it all over again. It's finally Christmas time, and two girls, Nicole and Rachel, are getting ready for their vacation in Mexico. Who is doing something wrong? Rachel. Take a look. She's packing sweaters and other warm clothes. However, it's not that cold in Mexico, even during Christmas, so she should definitely reconsider her vacation wardrobe.
April, May, and June are three sisters. One day, April says, "Girls, have you noticed that we're all born in the 3 months our names signify, but none of us was born in the month of her name?" "Yes, it's a bit confusing," the girl who was born in May replied. "Who was born when?" Since no one is called their birth month, then April must be born either in May or June. But the girl who responded to her was born in May, so April was born in June. The girl who responded can't be May and can't be April, so she is June. And the girl who remained silent must be May, who was born in April. It was summer break, and Riley's friends invited her to go camping. Riley didn't like camping, but she also didn't want to admit that she'd rather stay at home watching TV. So she said that her parents had invited her to go on vacation, but she stayed at home and was binge-watching TV shows. Her family was sending her vacation photos, and Riley photoshopped herself in one of them and sent it to her friends. When her friends saw the photo, they realized that Riley wasn't on vacation. How? Look, Riley is the only person in the photo who doesn't cast a shadow. Mrs. Collins went on a business trip, and her daughter stayed in the house alone. Of course, the girl wanted to throw a party. Her mother knew it was inevitable, so she gave her permission, but on one condition. There should be no more than 5 people in the house. In the late evening, Mrs. Collins called a neighbor and asked her to check the house. Here's what the neighbor saw when she approached the house. How many girls are partying there? There are just 4 girls visible in the windows, but it doesn't mean that we can see everyone. Let's better count the shoes by the door. There are 6 pairs of shoes, so there must be 6 girls inside. And now here's a tricky riddle for you. There are 4 houses on the street. The red house is made of red bricks. The yellow house is made of yellow bricks. Next, there's a white house that is made of white bricks. And the last house is a green house. What is the green house made of? Well, greenhouses are made of glass. Did you get it right, or did I trick you? Mrs. Jones finished cooking dinner and went to the living room to call her triplets for dinner. When she walked in, she saw her favorite vase shattered on the floor. "Who did it?" she asked, but none of them admitted. Look at the triplets and tell who you think is guilty. It must be this boy in the middle. Look, his hands are dirty, and the same stains can also be observed on the shattered vase. Cassidy participated in a game show, and she won. She won 3 exclusive gifts: an Apple smartphone, an original Louis Vuitton purse, and a Cadillac. But here's a catch. She is to pick her presents herself by choosing between an original and a replica. Will you help her pick the correct prize? Here are 2 iPhones. One of them is an original, and one of them is a replica. Which one should Cassidy choose? This one has the correct logo, so it must be the original. Now, there are two identical purses, but only one of them is an original Louis Vuitton purse. Which one? This one, with the correct logo. And finally, a Cadillac. Can you recognize the original logo? This is the one. Evie has always wanted to get a dog, but her mom wouldn't allow her. Once, she found a puppy on the street and brought it home and hid it from her mother. Evie had kept it for 2 weeks without her mom knowing. But one morning, Evie's mom walked into the room and realized that there was a dog living in her daughter's room. How did she understand it? Look, there's a dog bowl and dog food in Evie's room. Amanda lives in a small town. Her favorite artist just announced that she will come there for a concert. So, Amanda needs money to get a ticket, and she decides to find a summer job. She has 3 options. One option is to work on a project in a call center, which will last a month, and she will get $350 in the end. The second option is to work in an ice cream shop, where she will earn $90 a week. The third option is walking the dog of one of her neighbors, and she'll get $10 per day for this. Which job should she take to earn the $170 needed for the concert ticket as soon as possible? A call center is a bad option. It'll take her a whole month to get the money. If she walks the dogs, she'll have $170 in 17 days. But if she works in the ice cream shop, she'll earn $180 in just 2 weeks. That's the fastest option. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. But she found a witch's house. The witch agreed to send Esme home, but only if she helps her first. The witch was making a new potion and needed one of the herbs from the box.
It's one of the big ones with leaves, and not next to the one with the orange flower.
Which one is it? Okay, there are just 3 big ones, so it's one of those. Not next to the orange flower, so not this one. And only one of the remaining ones has leaves, so this is the one. In a big airport, the bags of 3 strangers got messed up. Take a look inside the bags and decide which bag belongs to whom. Okay, the bag with dresses and makeup most probably belongs to this woman. The bag with the professional photo camera probably doesn't belong to the blind man, so it's the bag of the other man. And the last bag belongs to him. Mrs. Lawrence had 3 teenage daughters, Leah, Chloe, and Della. They were all grounded and couldn't leave the house. Still, a neighbor saw one of the girls in a mall. Mrs. Lawrence came home and asked the girls what they were doing. "I was in the house preparing for my history test," said Leah. "I was doing puzzles in my room," shrugged Chloe. "I was gardening," said Della. Who lied? Look, Leah and Della both have dirty shoes. That's not suspicious of Della since she was in the garden. But Leah wouldn't get her shoes dirty if she spent the day in the house with a history book. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not let any suspicious people get in. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who wasn't supposed to enter the club. So here's the first one. She seems fine. Let her in. What do you say about this guy? Don't let him in. The month and date are flipped. He must have a fake ID. Okay, next. Look, in or out? Look, the photo of this young lady isn't made on a white background, as documents require. That's suspicious. So the ID must be fake. Ned shouldn't let her in. Okay, here's the next guest. What's your verdict? He seems fine to me. What about this woman? In or out? She seems all right. Green light. Okay, another one. In or out? Look, the woman in the pictures looks similar to the woman in reality, but she has a different eye color. It must be a different person. I wouldn't let her in. Katie and John went on vacation together to an exotic location. In their first week, they booked a tour to the desert. But during the tour, the couple got lost. They were really thirsty, so they decided to go look for some water. Soon enough, the couple came across a huge oasis. But to reach the main waterfall where they could drink some water, they had to cross a bridge. But there were 3 bridges leading to the same place. The first bridge was high above the ground, and the ropes holding it looked as if they could rip at any second. The second bridge had some hungry-looking alligators crawling all over it, and the last bridge stretched over a lake full of poisonous water plants. Which bridge should they choose? The last one. The bridge stands high above the lake. Katie and Jake won't have to touch the water and the plants when crossing it. Luckily, they had radios with them, so they sent an SOS signal to their guide. The guide told them to sit tight. He promised the guys that a rescue team would be shortly on its way to help them. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams reached Katie and John. The guys got suspicious and asked the members of the team who had sent them. The first team said that they'd heard on the radio that a couple had gotten lost in the desert and had come to help them. The members of the second team explained that the hotel the guys were staying at had called the police for help. The last team said they'd received a radio signal saying the couple had been in distress. They immediately came to the rescue. Which team should the couple trust? The last team. John and Katie sent a message to their guide as soon as they got lost, remember? Back in the hotel room, John and Katie found out that someone had broken into their safe. The couple called the police and told the inspector that a few $100s and an expensive watch had been stolen from the safe. In less than a day, the inspector had 3 suspects. The first suspect was Bella, their tour guide. Bella said she'd been really worried about the couple's disappearance and hadn't left her room. The second suspect was Claudio, the hotel manager. He told the inspector that he hadn't even known that the couple had been missing. He was sure they'd been staying in their room this whole time. The last suspect was Bob, from the rescue team. He told the inspector it wasn't him. It was the first time he had set foot in the hotel. Who is lying? Claudio. Look at his wrist. He's wearing a very expensive watch that looks exactly like the watch that was stolen. Plus, look at his pocket. He didn't do a good job at hiding the stash of money he'd stolen. After the crime was solved, John and Katie decided it was time to head home. As soon as they arrived at their house, they tried to open the new suitcase they had bought during the trip. They tried several number combinations but couldn't figure out the code. Luckily, Katie remembered she had saved a note on her cell phone. This was the tip she wrote down. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right, but in the wrong place. 206. 2 digits are right, but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. 1 digit is right, but in the wrong place. Can you figure out what the 3-digit code to open their suitcase is? (042). The following weekend, Katie's friends invited her to a picnic in the forest. But when she arrived at the agreed place, she didn't see any of her girlfriends. Instead, she saw a large group of people standing in a wide clearing. Apparently, she had come to the wrong location, but right before she left, she noticed that 3 of these people weren't human. Can you spot them? Look at the way that girl over there blinks. This doesn't look normal, does it? And look at that granny's cane. It's part of her body, not a separate object. And that guy is charging his phone using a cable connected to his leg. Yikes! On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle channel on TV. On the screen, there were 2 women. The first one was stuck inside a cage hanging above the ocean, filled with sharks. The other woman was tied with a rope, hanging over a lake with piranhas. Both ropes were about to break. Who has the best chance of surviving? It's lady number 2. The first lady is stuck inside a cage, so she has no way to escape. If she falls into the water, she will most likely not survive. But lady number 2 has both her hands free, so she can try to climb the rope before it tears. The next morning, John went to work. As soon as he arrived at the office, he saw that his colleague Susan was very upset. She said that at one point she had gone to the bathroom, but when she came back, she discovered that someone had stolen her pearl earrings she had kept inside her drawer. John promptly undertook an investigation. The first suspect was Gertrude, a saleswoman. She said she was in a meeting with the CEO and nowhere near Susan's famous pearl earrings. The second suspect was Britt, an IT guy. He said he'd been fixing the company's software all morning. And lastly, John questioned Brian, the CEO, who said he had spent the morning at his daughter's ballet recital. Can you tell who's lying? It was Gertrude. Gertrude's account contradicts the CEO's statement. And plus, look at those pearl earrings she has in her desk drawer. They look somewhat familiar, no? John went back to his desk and started working. Later that evening, a massive power outage made all the lights in the building go out. John heard footsteps approaching him. The next thing he knew, he felt dizzy. He passed out and woke up in a tiny room with a metal door. John tried to open the door, but it was locked. He noticed that next to the door, there was a little device with a red sign that asked for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. John read the note aloud several times before he finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password he typed? He typed in 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Phew, that wasn't very obvious, was it? One afternoon, John was walking down the street when he came across a dog. The dog had a collar with its name on it, and a part of its leash was still attached to the collar. It looked like the dog had just run away, so John picked it up and started searching for its owner. He walked into a pet store, and there were 3 people standing near the counter. John took a quick look around and knew immediately who the owner was. How did he figure it out? Look at the guy in the middle. A ripped leash is hanging out of his pocket. He must be the dog's owner. On a beautiful morning, Katie and her friend went on a hike. At some point, they saw a river they needed to cross. Both of them needed to get to the other side. However, the boat could only make one trip back and forth and take one of them at a time. Still, both of them managed to get across the river. How? That's easy. They both went on a hike on the same day, but they weren't together, so they arrived at the river at the same time. But they were on the opposite banks, and after Katie arrived at the other side of the river, her friend managed to get to the opposite bank too.
A famous rich businessman got sick. He needed a professional doctor and was ready to pay a lot of money. Many fake doctors applied, hoping to get that amount. Take a look at their resumes and tell which doctor is the real one. It says that Mr. Robert Greene was born on November 31st, but this date doesn't exist. There are just 30 days in November, so this resume must be fake. As for Dr. Matthias Johnson, there's no city mentioned in the place of birth, only the state. If I were that rich gentleman, I'd definitely pick the first candidate. Leslie lived in a house where she wasn't allowed to have any pets. But one day, she found a cute, lonely dog that didn't have an owner. She couldn't resist and took it home. A few weeks later, the house owner knocked on her door. Leslie hid the dog and opened the door. Still, the owner instantly knew that she was keeping a dog. How did he know? She forgot to hide the dog's food. A huge pack is still in her room. Tatum got messages from 3 different guys who wanted to go out with her: Zion, Toby, and Brick. She loved reading, especially detective stories, and she told that to each of the guys. Can you guess which of the guys lied to her based on their responses? Zion: "Sure, I absolutely love detective stories. My grandpa knew Sherlock Holmes himself." Toby: "Same. Last year I read 200 books and most were detective stories." Brick: "Wow, that's awesome. My mom owns a bookstore in New York and she always brings me books, so I love reading too." Zion was lying. Sherlock Holmes is a book character, and he never existed in real life, so his grandpa couldn't possibly know him. Eloise was having a birthday party. She invited 3 people over and got 3 presents: a pair of gloves, a bag of makeup, and sunglasses. However, Eloise didn't like one of the presents. Can you guess which one and why? She didn't like the pair of gloves. Both of them are right-handed. 3 zombie girls are chasing Jake. One of them is his ex-girlfriend. Can you tell which one? Take a closer look at Jake's shoulder. He has a tattoo that says J+L. These must be the first letters of his and his girlfriend's names. If you take another closer look, you can see that Zombie Girl B has a tag attached to her leg saying Lucy. It must be her name, and it starts exactly with an L. So, Zombie B must be his ex. Esme went for a walk in the woods and got lost. She's been wandering around until she approached the witch's house. She pet her cat and asked if the witch can send her home. The witch agreed to let Esme go if the girl guessed her name. Luckily, there was a hint. The capital of Romania, the capital of Oman, the capital of Spain, and the capital of Egypt. Esme got it right. Can you guess what the witch's name is? Romania has only one capital letter, and it's R. The capital letter of Oman is O. Spain gives us S, and from Egypt we get E. So, it seems like the witch's name is Rose. Right before a restaurant was about to open, somebody stole all the money from the office. A detective arrived for interrogation. A cook said he was working hard and didn't have time to walk or gaze around, so he didn't see anything. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't steal anything. The waiter said that he saw one visitor going to the office, but somehow didn't realize that wasn't okay and didn't stop him. The waiter was arrested for stealing the money. Why? The restaurant was closed, and there couldn't have been any visitors inside. Indiana wanted to make her mom the best birthday present ever, but had zero ideas. So she decided to break into her mom's computer to see what she had in her online shopping cart. Her mom's computer required a password, and Indiana didn't know it. Luckily, there was a hint: 914491141. Can you guess what the password is? Each letter is the number of a respective letter in the alphabet. 9th letter is I. Letter number 14 is N. Number 4 is D. 9th is I again. The first one is A, the 14th is N, and then A again. So the password is Indiana. Emma, Maeve, and David like apple juice. Anna, Layla, and Ava like orange juice. Following the same logic, what kind of juice does Atlas prefer? Emma, Maeve, and David have just one letter A in their names, so they're grouped together. Anna, Layla, and Ava have 2 A's in their names. Atlas has 2 A's in the name, so she prefers orange juice. William was on vacation in Thailand. One day, he met a beautiful girl there and approached her. He asked her on a date, and the girl agreed to go out with him if William guessed her name. Since she really liked him too, she gave him a hint. My name is 2/7 of Germany, 2/5 of Nepal, 2/9 of Singapore, and 1/5 of Spain. Can you guess what the girl's name is? "2/7 of Germany" means 2 out of 7 letters in the word Germany, which are GE. 2/5 of Nepal gives us NE. 2/9 of Singapore adds up to SI, and 1/5 of Spain is S. So the girl's name is Genesis. The police have been looking for the person who robbed the city bank. They figured he'd try to leave the country, so they arrived at the airport and started questioning the people. One man, Bryce, said that he was a geography teacher going on his vacation to Germany, Poland, and Wonderland. Another suspect, Savannah, said she was a model going to Italy for a photo shoot. Max, a student, said that he was going home to Ukraine for the semester break. Can you tell who the robber is? It's Bryce. Wonderland is a fictional country. If he really were a geography teacher, he'd know that it doesn't exist. Annika woke up and found out that she wasn't in her room, but in some dungeon. She tried to open the door, but it required a password. The hint said SMTWT. Can you guess the following 2 letters? This is the sequence of the first letters of weekdays. S for Sunday, M for Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It means that the final 2 are F and S, Friday and Saturday. Mrs. Lawrence had 3 teenage daughters, Serenity, Kennedy, and Autumn. They were all grounded and couldn't leave the house. However, one of the neighbors reported that they've seen one of the girls at the mall but couldn't tell which one. Mrs. Lawrence came home and asked the girls what they were doing. Serenity said that she was reading all day. Kennedy said that she was watching a movie in her room and never left the house. Autumn said that she had spent the day in the garden. Mrs. Lawrence immediately knew who lied. Can you tell? Look, Kennedy and Autumn have dirty shoes. That's okay for Autumn because she said she'd been in the garden. Kennedy said that she'd never left her room, so her shoes can't possibly be that dirty. She must have lied. Dakota got in a car accident and was suffering from memory loss. She was a popular girl at school, and everyone wanted to be friends with her. Since Dakota couldn't remember who her friends were, one of the girls decided to pretend she was her bestie. On Monday, 3 girls visited Dakota. Ava brought her some snacks and chocolates. Nova got her earrings that Dakota had wanted to buy. Arden made her a friendship bracelet and brought a movie. Can you tell which girl isn't Dakota's friend? It's Nova. She got her earrings, but Dakota's ears aren't even pierced, so she couldn't have wanted to get them. Can you tell which werewolf is real here? Werewolves only turn from a person into a wolf at night and when it's the full moon. On the left, it's a day, so the person can't turn into a werewolf. It must be a costume. On the right, it's night, but there's no full moon, so the person shouldn't look like this as well. In the middle, everything seems normal. It's night, it's full moon, and the person has turned into a werewolf. It must be the one. Can you tell who's a real mermaid here? The second one is a guy, so he definitely isn't a mermaid. The girl on the right is chilling in the sun, and she's out of the water. Mermaids wouldn't do that because they dry out in the sun. So the real mermaid must be the one on the left. Take a look at these three people. Can you recognize the real vampire? If you look closely at the first one, he's wearing a silver chain. Real vampires can't stand silver, so this must be fake. The girl in the middle is wearing a silver bracelet, so she doesn't fit either. But the third vampire seems to be valid, at least at first sight. A teenage girl, Skylar, got poisoned after school, and Detective Callum had to solve the case. He interrogated the classmates, and one girl said that she saw another girl, Ayla, adding something to Skylar's water bottle. However, no one else has seen it. He talked to Ayla's boyfriend, who said that she was with him after school. Another witness was a guy working at a cafe who saw Ayla and her boyfriend there and even showed pictures from the security camera. Still, Ayla was arrested for poisoning Skylar. Why? Take a look at the picture of Ayla. She has a tattoo on her left arm. However, in the security pictures, the girl who was in the cafe with Ayla's boyfriend has a tattoo on her right arm. Turned out, Ayla had a twin sister no one knew about, who covered up for her. Mr. Jones was watching TV when the doorbell rang. It was a guy who introduced himself as Lincoln. He said that he was a member of a volunteer group. They were collecting donations to save the rarest species of dodo birds. But Mr. Jones didn't believe him and called the police. Why? There are no more dodo birds. They went extinct in the 17th century. Arwen, a rich man's only son, visited his cousin Richie. They were talking about sports and drinking tea. Suddenly, Arwen stopped breathing and fell to the floor. Richie called the doctor, who said that Arwen had been poisoned. Detective Callum arrived and started the investigation. Soon, he accused Richie of poisoning his cousin. How did Richie manage to do that? Arwen was the only one who drank his tea sweet. The poison was in the sugar. Eloise was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the table. When the girl returned, she realized someone had stolen her cell phone. She called the police, and they questioned the other 3 students who were in the library at that time. Bernard said, "I left the library right after Eloise. I wanted to get a drink from the vending machine. I didn't touch her things." Beth said, "I was studying the whole time and didn't even see anything." Serenity said, "I was in another part of the library and didn't come close to Eloise's table." Who stole the girl's phone? It was Bernard. He said he'd left to get a drink from the vending machine. But look, there are no drinks in there, only snacks. Samantha and her daughter Avery went to the lake to spend some time together. They found a nice spot and sat down there. A bit later, Samantha remembered she'd left her camera in the car and went to get it. When she returned, her daughter was gone. The woman called the police, and they started to look for the girl. There were 3 people nearby, and the police officers interrogated them all. Benjamin said, "I was walking nearby and saw a girl sitting by the lake, but I didn't do anything to her." Genevieve said she hadn't even seen the girl or her mother. And Victoria said she hadn't seen them either, but she heard someone screaming. Who should the officers arrest? They should arrest Genevieve. Look, she's wearing Avery's scarf. Brian called the police early in the morning. He said that the night before, he and his girlfriend Estelle had been watching a scary movie together. Estelle was afraid to go home, so she stayed at his place. She was having a bad dream with zombies chasing after her, and she didn't wake up in the morning. The guy didn't know what had happened, but the police arrested him, claiming he was guilty. Why? The guy said his girlfriend hadn't woke up in the morning. Then, how did he know what she had been dreaming about? Theodore came from New York to his hometown, Chicago, to spend a week with his father. 3 days later, the father called the police and said his son had poisoned himself. The police examined Theodore's things to check if there was anything suspicious. After that, they took the father to the police station for further interrogation. What seemed suspicious to them? The officers found a return ticket from Chicago to New York. Theodore wouldn't have bought this ticket if he hadn't been planning to return to New York. Esme was having her usual walk in the forest. And you know what? She got lost again. After wandering around for a couple of hours, she finally found the witch's house. Esme asked the witch to show her the way back home. The witch wanted to make Esme her maid, but she had a problem. She was planning a vacation and wanted to go fishing. Her fishing rod was 13 feet long, and one was only allowed to take things no longer than 12 feet on the train. The witch promised Esme that if the girl found a solution, she'd let her go. What can Esme recommend? Esme was very good at geometry. She advised the witch to put the rod in a 12 by 5 foot box. Diagonally, it fit perfectly. On a Sunday evening, Mrs. Collins was having tea at her friend's house. Her friend suddenly said that she had seen one of Mrs. Collins' daughters in the mall that day. Mrs. Collins got angry because all of the girls were grounded. She asked which daughter it was, but her friend couldn't tell. She wasn't wearing her glasses when she was at the mall. When Mrs. Collins returned home, she asked the girls what they had been doing the whole day. Abigail said she'd spent the day reading. Brianna said she had stayed at school after classes to study a bit more. Charlotte said that she had been practicing for her upcoming piano concert. Who lied? Brianna. It's Sunday. There's no school. A young girl, Tenley, was brought to the hospital after being poisoned. But the examination showed that Tenley hadn't eaten or drunk anything that day. Her sister, Kennedy, said she didn't know anything about the accident. Tenley's friend, Ruby, said, "We were at school when Tenley felt bad." Tenley's boyfriend, Archie, said, "I haven't even talked to her today." How was Tenley poisoned, and who did it? The girl hasn't eaten anything, but she has some lipstick on. That's what contains poison. And the only person who had access to Tenley's room that day was her sister, Kennedy. There was a car accident in a tunnel. The police suspected that one of the drivers, Owen, had fallen asleep behind the wheel. But Owen denied it. "I just couldn't see well because of the rainstorm," he said. The police didn't believe him and immediately arrested the man. Why? The accident happened in a tunnel. It couldn't rain there. Someone in the town was stealing cars. Every time a car disappeared, its owner would get a message from an anonymous number. In each message, there were 2 emojis that didn't make any sense. The police tracked the number, and the geolocation led to 3 houses. They questioned the owners, Mr. Walson, Mrs. Coleman, and Mr. Woolridge. Can you tell who the car thief is? The emojis seem to make sense after all. They're a wall and a father with a son. Combine them and you'll get Walson. So Mr. Walson must be the one stealing cars. Now let's play the game Who's Less Smart? It's early morning. Tom and Joseph are driving their teenage children to school. Who is not smart? Joseph. His son is not in the car. His father has probably forgotten about the poor guy. Annie and Emma are volunteering in an animal shelter. Annie is feeding the cats, and Emma is washing the dogs. Who is not smart here? Annie. She's giving dog food to the cats. Logan and Anthony are both having job interviews at 4 p.m. Logan is packing some food, and Anthony is ironing his best suit. Who's not smart? Anthony. Look at the clock. The interview is going to start in 5 minutes, and he's still at home. Logan is at home too, but there's still another hour till his interview begins. Noelle and Gabriella are cleaning the house. Noelle is listening to music while vacuum cleaning the living room, and Gabrielle is washing the windows. Who is not being smart? Noelle. The vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in. Skylar and Autumn are both going on summer vacation. Skylar is going to Spain, and Autumn is visiting her sister in Chile. Who is not smart? Autumn. She's packing shorts and swimwear, but she won't need them because it's winter in Chile. Both Josh and Amelia didn't sleep well because their neighbor's dog had been barking all night. Amelia asked Josh to take out the trash while she was making some coffee for them. Who is not smart? Josh. Instead of the trash, he's taken out the bags with old toys they've collected to donate. Janine and Teresa are making dinner for their families. Who is not smart? Well, they both have a problem. Janine is putting out a fire with water, and Teresa has a mouse in her kitchen and an ant in the dough. Lucas and Hudson are walking. Which one of them isn't very smart? It's Hudson. He's staring at the screen of his phone and can miss that cliff and fall over. Even though Lucas is blind, he still has his stick. With its help, he'll know about the edge of the cliff as soon as he reaches it. He's safe. Opal is spending a vacation climbing the mountains. Karis is climbing Everest. Can you tell which one of them isn't smart? It's Opal. Look, she's forgotten about the safety rope and is climbing without it. Not good. Gabriel and Archer are bloggers who take selfies in dangerous places. This time, Gabriel is taking a selfie while surfing a huge wave, and Archer has chosen to take one while standing on the edge of the bridge above the lake. Who is not being careful? It's Gabriel. They're both doing very risky things, but at least Archer has some people around who can help him if something happens. Gabriel is alone in the ocean. It's a very early morning after a party. Egan and Bradley are driving their children to college. Can you tell who's not smart? Egan. His son isn't even in the car. Delilah and Ellery are on vacation. Both of them decided to learn something new. Delilah is skiing in the forest, and Ellery is practicing skating on the lake. Who's in danger? It's Ellery. Look, the ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help her. She should get out of there as fast as possible. Ariana and Eliza are getting ready for a barbecue party they're hosting. Ariana is making salads outside, and Eliza is decorating the house and the garden. Who's not being smart? It's Ariana. While she's busy with the salads, the meat is going bad in the sun. Karis, a mother of 4, returned home and saw that all the teenagers were quietly doing their own stuff. The oldest one, Amanda, was playing Uno, Gabriella was reading, Haven was painting. What was Ainsley doing? Ainsley was playing Uno with Amanda. Take a look at these guys and tell who is behaving stupidly. All the guys on the left, they will all fall in the end. The only guy who will stay on the tree is the one on the right. Detective Callum was spending his holiday in Hawaii. He was having his evening coffee on the terrace when he heard some noise and a scream. The balcony door of the room next to his was open, so he walked in and asked what had happened. A young actress, Chanel, was staying there. She said some man dressed in black and wearing a mask broke into her room and tried to take her away. She screamed and the criminal ran away, disappearing in the hallway. The actress asked Detective Callum to find the man immediately. But the detective said Chanel could try to fool someone else, and he'd rather return to his coffee. Why didn't he believe the girl? Look at the door of the actress's room. Lots of boxes are blocking it. If the man had indeed run out of the door, he'd have pushed all the stuff out of his way. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to open it. The girl just tried to make up some drama to get media attention. Adam came to his PE class and told the teacher that, unfortunately, he couldn't work out. He broke his arm the other day. But Adam had a bad reputation. The teacher didn't believe him and told the guy to stop fooling around. Do you believe Adam? Look, he has a cast on his arm, but it's placed over his jacket. It must be fake. Mrs. Miller reported that someone in the neighborhood had run up to her and stolen her bag. The authorities interrogated all the neighbors. Bryce said he had been away. I came home less than a minute ago. Arden said she'd spent all day at home and hadn't been outside. Easton said he had taken his dog for a walk, but he didn't steal anything or see anything strange. The authorities arrested one person. Who? They arrested Bryce. He said he'd just come home, but the water in the pot on the stove is boiling. He must have been at home for a while already. Ames worked in a clock store. One day he called the police. When they arrived, Ames told them he had been working when the electricity suddenly went off. He tried to solve the problem by himself first, then he called the police. They soon figured out what had happened, and the lights were on again. Ames immediately checked the cash desk. Apparently, while the lights were off, someone broke into the store and stole all the money. But the police didn't believe him and arrested the man. Why? In the store, there were mechanical and electric clocks, but the difference between the time they display is just 10 minutes. Mechanical clocks don't stop when the electricity is off. It means that the lights were off only for about 10 minutes. Ames must have switched the electricity off by himself and then called the police. Nelson was a writer. He was always disturbed by teenagers gathering outside his house and couldn't focus. One day, the man called the police. When they arrived, he said someone had thrown a stone at his office window. He asked the police to officially prohibit the teenagers from coming anywhere close to his house. But the detective didn't believe him. Why? Look, the glass is broken at the bottom, but this part of the window is protected by the balcony outside. Nelson must have broken the window himself to accuse the teenagers. A family was on vacation, and they had no idea what day it was. Dad said, I'm pretty sure it's either Monday or Tuesday. Mom added, all I know is that it wasn't Wednesday yesterday. Jake said, it must be Wednesday, or the weekend. Sienna was in doubt. Maybe it's Friday. Ruby said, Friday is tomorrow. Can you tell what day it is if only one statement is true? According to Dad, it's Monday or Tuesday. According to Mom, it's any day other than Thursday. So it might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Jake is sure it's Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday. Sienna claims it's Friday, and according to Ruby, it's Thursday. The only day that is mentioned only once is Thursday. It means Ruby is right. Paige and Quinley were sisters. They were hanging out together in their room. Quinley had a crush on a guy from her school. She decided to write him a letter. Paige thought it was a bad idea, but Quinley wouldn't listen to her. Once she was almost done, Quinley went downstairs to get some tea. When she returned, the letter was gone. Paige said that a gust of wind suddenly blew in and the letter flew out of the window. But Quinley didn't believe her and asked Paige to give her the letter back. How did she figure out her sister had taken the letter? When the wind blows inside a room from the outside, nothing can possibly fly out of the window. Colton got into an accident and had memory loss. Kennedy and Isla both claimed to be his girlfriend. They took the guy to the place where they had their first date. Each of the girls hoped Colton would decide she was his real girlfriend. Have you figured out who the guy dated? Look, there are initials painted on the tree, saying C plus I. It means Colton's girlfriend is Isla. In a hotel, someone robbed a rich gentleman. The only witness was Joseph, a cleaning man working in the hotel. He was tidying a room nearby at the time of the robbery. The detective asked the man if he had seen anything. Joseph said, "When I heard the noise, I was going to enter the room, but then the door opened and hit me on the head. I couldn't see for a while." Joseph even showed the police officer a bruise on his forehead. The detective didn't believe Joseph, though, and arrested him for assisting the robber. Why? The door couldn't hit Joseph because it opens inwards, so he lied. After an accident, Karis was staying in the hospital. Only relatives were allowed to visit her. But 3 guys wanted to see the girl: her boyfriend, a classmate who was in love with her, and her brother. Each of them said he was her brother. Take a look at the guys' identity cards and try to figure out who her brother is. Her brother must be Philip. The age difference between Karis and Colton is 4 months, and between Karis and Nero, 5. Such an age gap is too small for them to be siblings. Maddox came to the police station to report his cousin Damon. The guy asked Maddox if he could stay with him for a couple of days. In the evening, Damon asked the host to bring him some fruit from the basement. When Maddox went there, Damon locked him inside. There was no electricity and no light in the basement, and Maddox didn't have a single gadget with him that could help him out. 2 days later, at 4 a.m., he heard his cousin drive away. It was only later that day that he managed to get out thanks to a postman. Maddox found out that all his money had been stolen. But the police officers didn't believe him. Why? Maddox said he hadn't had any gadgets to check the time. It was also too dark to see anything on a regular clock. Then how could he figure out when exactly his cousin drove away?
Sheila participates in a beauty pageant. The next catwalk will take place in 30 minutes. Sheila leaves her stuff in the dressing room and goes outside to talk on the phone. After that, she returns and sees that someone has torn her costume. Sheila gets furious and questions her rivals. Millie says, "I was getting my makeup done, so I sat in my chair motionless, and I couldn't look around." Chelsea says, "I was in a toilet. I think I ate something wrong for lunch." And Isabella says, "I was outside the dressing room filming stories for my subscribers." Who is lying? Millie. She said she got her makeup done, but why did she ruin it by putting on a face mask? Sheila goes to the storage room to find a new dress. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind her.
Oh no!
She needs to enter an 8-letter password to open the door. Sheila needs to be on the stage in 5 minutes. Can you help her crack the code? This picture on the wall is a hint. Sheila needs to enter paradise. Sheila opens the door and meets face-to-face with creepy rats. She runs away and gets lost in the basement. Sheila finds these 3 doors leading to the stage, but each door is hiding some danger. There are broken wires and a puddle of water on the floor behind the first door. There's a scorpion behind the second door waiting to bite Sheila. And there's a magical portal leading to the top of a mountain behind the third door. Can you help Sheila make the right choice? She should choose the first door. There's enough space. Sheila can crawl underneath the wires. Sheila enters the stage and spots 3 weird details in the auditorium. Can you see them too? Take a closer look at this lady. She's holding a book upside down. This musician is playing the violin without any strings. Also, there's a panda among the viewers. Sheila becomes a beauty queen. She gets a diamond tiara and a paycheck. She goes backstage, but suddenly, all lights in the building go out for a few seconds. When the lights turn on again, Sheila sees that someone has stolen her tiara. She questions 3 rivals. Zoe says, "I don't want your cheap tiara. My dad is a billionaire." Jasmine says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and scratched my dress." Rachel says, "You must have dropped it on the floor. Look better." Who stole the tiara? Zoe. It's hidden under her diamond necklace. The next day, Sheila wakes up in a creepy castle. A wicked witch turned her into a monkey. To break the black magic, Sheila needs to use a spell. But the spell book is locked in a box. The lock requires a 6-digit code. Can you help her open the box? there are exactly 6 candles on the shelf above the box. It's a hint. Each candle has a particular number of dots, so the code is 24361. There are 4 big houses in Sheila's neighborhood. All 4 are standing in one row, and they have different colors: red, green, white, and blue. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the green house. The 3rd house in the row is white. Mrs. Snake owns a red house, and Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end of the row, but she lives somewhere to the right of the blue house. Meanwhile, Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. And the 1st house isn't red. Can you decide who lives where and what the color of each person's house is? From the clues, we know that the 1st and the 3rd houses can't be red. Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. Therefore, Mrs. Snake, who owns the red house, can only live in the 2nd. Since Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end, she must live in the 3rd house, which is white. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the greenhouse, which means that Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. As for Mrs. Jones, she lives in the 1st house, and it's blue. Can you spot a fake teacher? The guy on the left isn't a real teacher, he's an actor. Take a closer look. There's a rec camera icon at the top of the screen. 2 friends want to cross a river. The only way to get to the other side is by boat. But this boat can only take 1 person at a time. The boat cannot return on its own, and there are no ropes or any other similar tricks. Yet both guys manage to cross the river using the boat. How is that possible? The guys started on the opposite banks of the river. Josh and Bob are twins. Josh lives with his wife, and Bob lives alone. Can you guess which one is Josh? It's the first guy. He has a pair of toothbrushes in his bathroom, while Bob only has one. A time traveler is attending this party. Can you spot this person? This lady's shoes look too old-fashioned. Chuck enters a spooky building where he's supposed to have a job interview. Suddenly, someone locks the door, and now Chuck is trapped. He wanders around for a while and sees these 4 doors. He also finds a note. Only door 3 is leading to the job interview. The remaining doors will take you to the black hole. Good luck. Can you help Chuck choose the right door? No need for luck, Chuck. The symbols on the door are actually numbers. So, Chuck should enter this door. I talk to you, you talk to me. Every day, you hold me. Yet, I can't smell you. What am I? I'm your mobile phone. A gentleman and a lady are talking. The person with black hair says, "I'm a gentleman." The person with blonde hair says, "I'm a lady." At least one of them lied. Can you guess the hair color of each person? If only one of them lied, they would both be gentlemen or both be ladies. Therefore, they both lied. It means that the lady has black hair and the gentleman is blonde. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There's no milk in the jug. Can you see anything odd in this picture? The image in the mirror is not reflected. Can you spot a vampire? This guy over here. Fiona is a young witch. She finds these 4 portals in a haunted castle. Fiona chooses one of the portals and enters. You can hear city noises from the first portal. You can hear sea waves from the second portal. You can hear leaves rustling from the third portal. And bells are ringing from the fourth. Which portal did Fiona enter? Fiona's dirty footprints on the floor are leading to the third portal. Don't mind the different sounds, this could just be a magic trick. Billy finds himself on the roof of a skyscraper that is about to crumble. The only way out is to use one of these 4 elevators. There's a werewolf hiding behind the first elevator. If Billy chooses the second elevator, he'll fall hundreds of feet. Super venomous snakes are crawling all over the third elevator. And mutated scorpions are waiting for Billy inside the fourth elevator. Just one bite will make him fall asleep forever. Which way should Billy choose? The first one. Take a look at the sky. The moon is not full, so the werewolf is harmless. Rachel meets 3 of her former school friends in the parking lot. All 3 want to impress Rachel, so they begin to discuss their new cars. Melanie says, "I wanted my car to be one of a kind, so I bought this one." Peter says, "Since I'm a beginner, I purchased the cheapest used car." And finally, Samantha says, "I bought a large car because I have a big family." Rachel spots a liar right away. What about you? It's Samantha. Her car key doesn't match the logo on the car.
You wake up in a dark, cold dungeon. You don't remember how you got here, and you don't know what's going on. You rub your head because it hurts. Your ears are ringing. Hey, calm down and focus. Creepy puzzles are waiting for you, and at the end of the video, you'll see how good at them you are. You see several strange symbols scratched on a brick wall. It's 4 vertical stripes, 3 stripes below, and a check mark even lower. Next, you come to a grid. A huge rusty lock is hanging on it. There's no key. Look around and try to figure out how you can get out. Have you noticed that brick that sticks out of the wall? Try pushing it. Ha! It worked! A secret door opens and you make your way outside. You go down the stairs and see a large hall. Several torches light up and you spot 4 huge mirrors. They reflect Frankenstein, a skeleton, a zombie, and a vampire. One of these creatures is a human being. Can you guess who it is? Vampires don't get reflected in the mirror, so you're looking at a human. He gives you a small bone and warns that you will need it. You get outside and realize you're in the courtyard. This is the territory of a large, sinister castle. There are no clouds in the sky, and the sun is hidden behind one of the tall towers. You can see 3 gates ahead. A werewolf is next to the first one. A second gate is guarded by a huge scorpion the size of a car. And the third gate has a scary, alive gargoyle. Something is wrong here. Find out what exactly. The sun is shining brightly, so there's no full moon. So what's a werewolf doing here? It's just a human in a costume. The werewolf opens the gate and you go through. You're back in the castle and step into a small room. There are cobwebs everywhere and a lot of garbage on the floor. You can see a jar of salt on the table and a note on the wall. It says, "A circle of salt." You decide to take the jar just in case. At this point, a slippery, viscous liquid starts dripping onto your shoulder. You look up and see a big spider descending towards you on its web. You run away and see 3 doors. You can hear screaming behind the first one. Behind the second door, you hear the sound of a chainsaw. A dog is barking behind the third one. Quickly, you've got to decide where to go. Run to the third door. Yeah, you'll meet an angry dog, but you have a bone. You throw it, and the dog immediately feels better. It nibbles on its trophy and forgets all about you. On the floor, you can see human footprints that lead to the next door. You push the handle down. It's locked. Look around the room and find the key. The dog is gnawing on the bone and the key is glinting on its collar. You pet the dog and gently remove the key from its neck. You open the door. It's dark and you can't see anything. You take a small step forward and fall into a deep hole. Fortunately, you're not hurt. On the ground, you find an old MP3 player with headphones. It still has some battery left. Great, you put it in your pocket. You can't climb up the smooth walls of the pit, but you can see that someone has thrown down 2 ropes for you to get out. One rope is white and slightly shining. The other looks quite ordinary. Choose which you should use to get out. The white rope is a spider web. The spider is still chasing you, so you choose the normal rope. You get out of the pit. The rope is tied to a marble pillar. You untie it and put it in your pocket. You slowly walk down a dark corridor and hear a growl behind you. It's a werewolf. The full moon is out. You run out of the corridor and find yourself in the street. There are 3 paths ahead of you. The first road is covered with lava. The second one is swarming with snakes. And the third road leads to a poisonous lake. Hurry up, the werewolf is coming. There's a shoe lying right on the water on the left side of the lake. This means that the lake is frozen. You're sliding on the ice and falling. The werewolf is still chasing you, but it slips too, and you have time to run to the solid ground. There's a massive tower ahead. You run inside and close the door. You find yourself in a circular hall lit by torches. Human faces appear on the walls. Their hands begin to reach out. The phantoms are slowly approaching you. They're everywhere, surrounding you. What will you do? Remember that jar of salt and the note saying, "A circle of salt"? You should spill salt around you, and the phantoms won't dare cross that line. You do, and then wait for a while, and they disappear. You climb up a spiral staircase to the top of the tower. The door slams shut behind you. There's one window and an iron torch stand mounted on the wall. In the center of the room, you notice a wide bed, surrounded by a white veil. You push the veil aside with your hand and see that 2 zombies are sleeping there. They open their eyes, get up, and slowly walk towards you. What are you gonna do now? Use the rope you found before. Tie it to the torch stand and go down through the window. Great. The zombies are too stupid to pull the rope back. You're on the ground and see a car. At this moment, the werewolf breaks out of the castle. You get into the vehicle and lock the door. The werewolf hits the window with its paws. You can't find the key. It's probably in the glove compartment, but it has a 3-digit combination lock. Recall the beginning of your adventure and try to guess the code. Hurry up before the werewolf breaks the glass. In the dungeon where you woke up, there were several signs on the wall. 4 vertical stripes, 3 stripes below them, and a check mark even lower. The check mark is the Roman numeral 5. Then the code is 435. You take out the key, start the engine, and drive away. You leave the castle but realize the car's brakes don't work. There are 3 roads ahead. A brick wall is at the end of the first one. The second road leads to a burning forest. And the third road ends on a high hill with a cliff. What path will you choose? There's almost no time. You're driving too fast. Release the gas pedal and drive up the hill. The speed will soon drop. At one point, you'll be able to get out of the vehicle. You jump out of the car and it falls off the cliff. You go around the hill and get into a swamp. You make your way through the marsh and see 3 women in front of you. Which one is a mermaid? The woman in the middle has something strange on her neck. Those are gills. The second girl has webbed fingers. The girl on the left seems normal. She's a human. You pass through the swamps and find yourself on the seashore. An old motorboat is lying on the sand. You push it to the water, start the engine, and climb inside. You go far away from the island with the castle. In the distance, you see some rocks and shipwrecks. You slow down and hear beautiful singing. It's coming from several women staying on top of the rocks. They're sirens. Using their singing, they lure sailors whose ships crash against the rocks. You move straight toward them and can't resist it. The rocks are getting closer and closer. Do something, quickly! You still have your MP3 player you found in the pit. You put on the headphones, turn on the music, and go away. The engine stalls. Far ahead, you can see an outline of another island. You grab an oar and start rowing. A few hours pass, you're hungry and thirsty. There are fish swimming in the water, and you find a can of worms in the boat. But how can you catch them without a fishing rod? Use one of your shoelaces. Tie the bait to it and lower it into the water. It works! You catch a few fish, but then you notice a shark's fin. It circles you and pushes the boat. The island is really close, but you need to get away from the dangerous creature. How are you going to solve this problem? Throw the fish you've caught as far as possible. This will distract the shark and give you some time to get to the shore. Whew, done. But unfortunately, you've given your lunch away to the sea hunter. Exhausted, you get to the shore. Here, you meet a man. It says it was him who left you the MP3 player and the rope. He also wrote the code on the wall of the dungeon. Without a word, you kick him in the shins and he hobbles off. No, you don't, but I sure would. Anyway, you're glad that everything is over and just lie down on the sand. But the man tells you it's not the time to relax. Other tough tests are waiting for you. You hear bizarre sounds coming from the jungle. But that's another story, and this one is coming to an end. Time to find out your score. 0 to 4 points, don't get upset. You can do better, but it's a bad idea for you to go to magic castles. 5 to 8 points, not bad. You've proved that you're brave, but you were a little lacking in resourcefulness. You will solve other riddles better. 9 to 12 points, almost perfect. You've passed the test and proved that you can get out of any dangerous situation alive. 13 to 15 points. It's not you who should run away from the monsters. They should be wary of you. Any mystical castle can become your home.
Rachel called the police early in the morning. When they arrived, she told the officers her story. I work in a museum. Yesterday, I took home several ancient books. I wanted to do some research, but then a blackout happened. I lit a couple of candles and continued my work. Suddenly, I heard the doorbell ring. When I opened the door, someone in a black mask hit me on the head. When I recovered, the books were gone. Detective Anderson arrested the woman for misreporting. Why? If there had been a blackout, the doorbell wouldn't have been working. After a bank had been robbed, the police found a bag with money in the park. It was lying among cacti. The police officers arrested 3 suspects. It didn't take long to figure out who the bank robber was. Do you know who it is? It's the man on the left. He's the only one with some scratches. They must have been left by the cacti. Detective Brown stopped a man leaving a clothing store.
The sales assistant claims you've stolen some expensive gloves.
"These are my gloves! I've had them for ages!" the man exclaimed. But the detective immediately understood the man was lying. How? The man wouldn't be able to use these gloves. They're both for the same hand. A family with 2 teenagers went on vacation to the seaside. They lived in a small bungalow almost right on the beach. Everything was great at first, but 2 days after their arrival, their younger son went missing. The police had 4 suspects. They invited the guy's family to look at them. Maybe they could recognize someone. The teenager's mother didn't need more than a glance before she knew who was behind her son's disappearance. Who was it? It's the man wearing the missing guy's baseball cap. Michael was going home from the gym when everything went black. When the guy came around, he found out that he was in a locked room. Next to the door, there was a computer with a keyboard. On the screen, there was a riddle. Michael had to type the correct answer, and the door would open. The riddle went like this. It makes 2 people out of 1. What is it? Michael typed the correct word, and the door opened. He was free to go. What was the answer? It's a mirror. Police detective Thomas Davis was walking along the street on a winter evening. Suddenly, he saw a person in a black mask sneaking out of a house through the window. They were carrying 2 large bags. The detective realized it was a burglar. He ran after the stranger, but they turned the corner and disappeared. Thomas understood that the criminal had hidden in one of these houses. But which one? It can't be the house on the left. There are too many people inside. There are no footprints in the snow leading to the house on the right. It means no one has been there for quite some time, which leaves us with the house in the middle. Oliver was attacked in his apartment and taken to a hospital. The police had 4 suspects, all of them Oliver's neighbors. Amelia said she'd been walking in the park since early morning. Henry explained he'd been painting in his studio and had heard nothing. Jacob said he'd been repairing his car. Sophia answered she'd been taking a bath for the past 3 hours. Look at these people's hands and try to figure out who is lying. It's a bit strange that Jacob, who'd been repairing his car, and Henry, who'd been painting, both have such clean hands. But they could have been wearing gloves. At the same time, Sophia's hands and fingers aren't wrinkled. But it would be a natural skin reaction after 3 hours in a bathtub. How many bricks does it take to complete a building? Just 1. It will be the last one. A man wanted to buy a used car. He found a nice one which cost $9,000. He bought it and didn't pay a dime for it. How come? When paying $9,000, you don't need to spend dimes. Now let's check your math skills. How can you write 45 using only the number 4? (44 plus 44 44ths). Nathan sneaked out of the house late in the evening to meet his girlfriend. The teenager thought he was extremely careful and quiet. But his whole family knew about his plan. They were aware that the guy would return at midnight. They decided to make a bet. The one who would see Nathan first when the guy started climbing the fence would be the winner. No chores for them for 1 week. Not to fall asleep, Nathan's dad switched on the TV. The teen's grandfather settled in the living room and started to read a book. The grandmother went to the kitchen to make pizza, and Nathan's mom went to her room, sat down on the floor, and started meditating. Who's going to be the first to spot Nathan when the time comes? Nathan's mom. Her eyes will be used to the darkness, and she will see better than the others. The CEO of a large company called the police. He was sure that one of his employees, Victoria, had stolen a memory card with secret information. She was going to sell it to the competitors. The police arrived at Victoria's house, but the woman didn't let them in without a warrant. The officers had to leave to get all the necessary papers. When they came back, Victoria was already sitting in her car, ready to drive off. The police officers arrested the woman. They searched her car and clothes, but found nothing. And then, when they were about to give up, one of the detectives realized where Victoria kept the memory card. Can you figure it out? When the police first came to her, the woman had her hair down, but after that, Victoria changed her hairstyle. The memory card is in her bun. Martin was driving past a bus stop when he saw 3 people standing there. One of them was Monica, a woman he had a crush on. Martin also spotted Sam, his friend, and an elderly lady who looked like she was freezing. Unfortunately, Martin had a 2-seater car. What should he do? He should let Sam borrow his car and stay at the bus stop with the girl he likes. This way, Sam will be able to give a lift to the elderly woman, and Martin will have more time to get to know Monica better. During a fire, a bank was robbed. The security guard told the police he wanted to save a bag with money, but he had to lace up his boot right in front of the emergency kit. At that moment, the door opened and hit him on the head. When he recovered, the money was missing. Why was the security guard arrested? All emergency doors open outward. Detective Adams came to the park to have lunch in the sun, but his attention was drawn by 3 men running around a fountain. Each of them was shouting, "Thief! Catch the thief!" The detective was confused. Who was the real thief? That's why he just kept watching. After some time, the distance between the men shortened. Detective Adams immediately realized who the real thief was. Can you figure it out too? If the third man was the thief, the second one would only have to turn around to catch him. The same goes for the second man, which means the man running in first is the criminal. Someone robbed a bank in a large city. A police detective went to visit the main suspect. "I've been feeling unwell all this week, and I haven't left my apartment for 3 days. I didn't even need food. My fridge is full. You can make sure yourself," the suspect said, and indeed opened his fridge. But the detective realized the man was lying and arrested him. How did he figure it out? First of all, the bread on the table looks fresh. Plus, if the man had been staying inside for 3 days already, his fridge wouldn't be that full.